You know, we all use the word luck. Winning the lottery, that's lucky. Missing the bus right before it gets into an accident, that's incredibly lucky. But what is it really? Is it just some random thing that happens? A mysterious force out there in the universe? Or, and this is the big question, is it something we can actually get better at? Well, today, we're going to dive deep into exactly that. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with a really interesting philosophical puzzle, one that kind of messes with our basic ideas about luck. Then we'll dig into the super important difference between control and chance. After that, we'll see why this whole debate actually matters for huge ideas like morality and freedom. And then we're going to pivot to something really practical, a framework with 4 different types of luck, and we'll wrap it all up with how you can actually start becoming luckier. So let's get started with that first puzzle. All right, let's do a little thought experiment. Imagine 2 situations. First, on the left, you win a totally fair lottery. It's a 1 in a million shot. No question, that's a massive stroke of good luck, right? Okay, now on the right, you win a lottery, but it was secretly rigged in your favor and you had absolutely no idea. Now to you, the experience feels exactly the same. It's this shocking, amazing surprise. But was it really luck if the outcome was guaranteed all along? This little comparison right here opens up the whole puzzle we're going to solve today. And that brings us right into our first section. See, most of us, when we think about luck, we just think about the odds. Something with a super low chance of happening happens to us, and we call it good luck. But as that rigged lottery example just showed us, maybe the odds don't actually tell the whole story. So to try and figure this out, philosophers came up with something called the modal account of luck. And it's actually a really cool idea. It says a lucky event isn't just about low probability. It's about what could have happened in close, possible worlds. So, to put it simply, if something happens, but in a ton of very similar, almost identical scenarios it doesn't happen, then the fact that it happened in our world is what makes it lucky. Failure was right around the corner. The modal account explains the fair lottery perfectly. In our world, the actual world, your numbers came up. But you can imagine, in almost all of those close possible worlds, worlds where just one little lottery ball bounced a tiny bit differently, you lose. The fact that you won when losing was so close to happening is what makes it a textbook case of luck. But here's where that theory just hits a brick wall. In the rigged lottery, your win was a sure thing. So in all of the close possible worlds where that lottery is rigged for you, you still win. There was never a near possibility of failure. So according to this theory, it shouldn't count as luck. But that feels totally wrong, doesn't it? I mean, it sure feels lucky to the person holding that winning ticket, and that tells us we're still missing a really important piece of the puzzle. So that leads us to a much better, much more complete theory, one that goes beyond just chance and brings in this crucial idea of control. This is where we really start to crack the code. A philosopher named Fernando Broncano Barrocal comes along with this brilliant 2-part idea. He says that for something to be lucky, we have to look at 2 different kinds of risk. First, there's event relative risk. That's basically the odds we were just talking about, the chance that the event could have easily not happened. But second, and this is the key, there's agent relative risk, and that is all about your lack of control over what happened. And this table just makes it all crystal clear. Let's walk through it. Look at case A, the fair lottery. You had no control, and there was a high chance of failure. Boom, that's what we call paradigmatic luck. Now, look at case B. This solves our whole puzzle, the rigged lottery. There was no real chance of failure, but because you, the person, still had 0 control, it's still lucky. But notice what happens when you have control. Case C, you rigged the lottery yourself. You have control, so it's not lucky. And same with case D. Let's say you just decide to book a trip to Paris on a whim. Yeah, you could have decided something else, but it was your decision. You were in control, so again, not lucky. So here it is, the single most important point. While chance is part of the story, the fundamental, non-negotiable ingredient of luck is a lack of control. If something important happens to you, and you had no say in it happening, then for you, the outcome is a matter of luck, no matter what the objective odds were. Okay, I know this might all seem a little abstract, a little bit academic, but trust me, figuring out what luck is has massive, real-world consequences, especially when you start talking about things like morality, blame, and even free will. Let's think about a famous thought experiment in philosophy called moral luck. So picture 2 people. They both make the exact same terrible decision, to get drunk and drive home. They drive down the exact same street, at the same speed, just as recklessly. So the first driver, let's call him driver A, he gets home. Maybe he swerves once or twice, but nothing happens. He wakes up the next day feeling awful, probably ashamed, but that's it. He gets a DUI, but no one's hurt.
But for the second driver, driver B, the story is completely different. By sheer, horrible chance, a factor completely and totally outside of his control, a child runs out into the road, and a tragedy happens that will ruin so many lives forever. So here is the really profound, difficult question. Their choices, their actions, were identical. The only difference in their stories was a random external event, a terrible, terrible stroke of bad luck. And our legal system, and probably our gut feelings, would say that driver B is a monster, far worse than driver A. But is he really more morally to blame, or are we just judging him based on an outcome that was fundamentally out of his control? This is the problem of moral luck, and it shows just how tangled up our ideas of luck and justice really are.
Okay, after wrestling with those really heavy questions, let's pivot. What if we could stop just defining luck and actually learn how to get more of it? Well, this brings us to an amazing, practical framework that breaks luck down into 4 types we can actually work with. As the philosopher Nicholas Rescher puts it, luck isn't some fixed destiny that you can't change. It's about chance. And here's the thing, while some chance is totally random, some of it isn't. Some of it actually responds to what we do. This framework from Dr. James H. Austin is an absolute game changer. So, type 1 is blind luck. This is the stuff you can't do anything about, where you're born, things like that. But then it gets really interesting. Type 2 is luck from motion. This is the luck that finds you just because you're out there, doing things, talking to people, stirring the pot. Type 3 is luck from preparation. This is when your deep knowledge lets you see an opportunity that everyone else misses. Think of a scientist noticing something tiny in an experiment that leads to a huge breakthrough. And finally, the most powerful kind, type 4, luck unique to you. This is when opportunities actually seek you out because of your unique reputation and skills.
And the best part is, we can actively work on getting more of types 2, 3, and 4. To get more luck from motion, you just have to do more stuff, talk to more people, try more things, increase your odds of a happy accident. For luck from preparation, you go deep. You build a unique skill stack, a combination of abilities that makes you stand out. And for that final, most powerful luck unique to you, you build a reputation for being excellent and authentic. You become the go-to person, and opportunities start knocking on your door.
So let's bring this all home. We've gone from this abstract philosophical idea of control all the way to a concrete action plan. And the final takeaway is really a powerful shift in how you see the world. And this is where it all clicks together so perfectly. The philosophical heart of luck is a lack of control. But the practical secret to becoming luckier is to focus like a laser on the things you can control. Right? You can't control whether lightning strikes, but you can definitely control your own motion, your own preparation, and your own reputation. You can build the tallest lightning rod for miles around. You've probably heard that saying from sports commentators, you have to be good to be lucky. And now we can see just how deep that statement really is. You know, a great basketball player who practices for thousands of hours isn't just lucky when the ball takes a friendly bounce off the rim and goes in. No. Their skill, their goodness, put them in a position to capitalize on that bounce. They created the opportunity for that luck to even matter. So the ultimate strategy isn't to just sit around and hope for good luck. It's to make yourself a massive, unmissable target for it. Every new skill you learn, every new connection you make, every time you do excellent work, you are expanding the surface area on which good fortune can land. You're not controlling the lightning, but you are absolutely increasing the odds that it's going to strike you. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time something lucky happens to you, a chance meeting, a surprise opportunity, a fortunate break, I want you to pause for a second and look a little closer. Ask yourself, was that just pure random chance? Or can you trace it back? Can you see how the motion you created, the preparation you did, or the unique reputation you built actually created the conditions for that luck to find you? The answer might just change how you see your own power to shape your life.